Hello and welcome to Joy of Books with me, Miss Joy. Today's book is the children's classic The Iron Man by Ted Hughes. This children's fiction book was released in 1968 and contains 58 pages. Sharing his views on the book today is author and teacher T.C.
Yes, I remember this book from my childhood, probably more so than any other book from my childhood that wasn't connected with football. So for this reason alone, I was a bit hesitant to revisit it. I didn't want to revisit it and taint it, that lovely childhood memory. However, I'm really happy to say that it still remains, thankfully, a wonderful children's book. It's a very, very quick read. There are only 5 chapters, so I would say from the off, this is not a challenging read. Great book if your child is, or if you are a less motivated reader. I'd say this is a really good read. It really gets you hooked quickly. The first chapter describes the Iron Man's fall from the top of a huge cliff, and it describes the way that this creature regathers itself before retreating into the sea. There's lots of evidence of Ted Hughes' poetry and his love of nature in this section as well. And of course, that's part of one of the main themes of the book. There's also the wonderful juxtaposition in the opening chapter where, of course, all these body parts are strewn across the beach, and one of the metal ears is in a seagull's nest with the baby gulls. So I really like that part. I think it would take a poet to write that part alone. And of course, Ted Hughes' poetry, well, stands for itself, doesn't it? The second chapter is about the reaction to this Iron Man being there. So the human response, of course, is initially is fear, let's destroy it, and then to trap it because it's eating their machinery, their metal, it lives off metal. So the third chapter sees it being trapped, and then eventually it does escape from there. It's almost like a tourist attraction. People are picnicking on the beach, this great hole containing the giant, well I say the giant, the Iron Man next to it. And it's only this Hogarth, this farmer's son, who suggests that they try and communicate with the Iron Man and offer him the scrap metal in the local metal yard. So that's really the context of the book, which is great. Now, the conflict arrives in this form of this creature that comes from outer space. It's so huge, this monster, that it's the size of Australia. I mean, something absolutely huge and incredibly scary. And even the description of it, the space bat angel dragon, is fantastic as well, isn't it? Lovely description there for a child to be able to visualize that image. Of course, it's so huge, though, this creature, that it can't be fed living creature because it's so big. Probably eat the whole world's population in a couple of days. So it'd be impossible. So, of course, the human reaction is a military full-on attack. The creature just laughs, though, as if it's being tickled upon that. And it's the Iron Man who saves the day by challenging the dragon and coming out on top at the end. So it's a wonderful book. Ted Hughes obviously flexes his poetic muscle in describing the different aspects of the Iron Man and the dragon. The similes are always there, head the size of Italy, for example, for the antagonist. And then idea of the music of the spheres, the dragons singing to the inhabitants of Earth at the end, flying just beyond the sunset to help soothe humanity toward a sense of peace. The beauty of his music distracts the population from its egocentrism and tendency to fight, causing the first worldwide lasting peace. Oh, great themes, Ted. Great themes. If only we had them today, eh? So it's a lovely ending, very poignant at that time. Lovely ending, very poignant at this time as well, with all the conflict in the world currently. Clearly the theme of warfare is evident here, and interhuman conflict. Pollution also, metal pollution there. A lot of people would have seen the Iron Giant film that came out back in the late 90s, and perhaps revisited this book because of that. And even the Marvel series Iron Man, which is, by the way, why this is called The Iron Man, this book. It's an essential read. It's a very good book. Obviously, the themes of warfare and interhuman conflict are prevalent in the book. It's also the environmental side as well. It talks about the scrapyard where the Iron Man manages to feast. There are links also with the Of course, modern readers will probably hear the Iron Man and think of the Marvel comic strip Iron Man or the film. Yeah, it's not like that at all. And then some would have watched the Iron Giant film in the late 90s, which is a great film, by the way, based on this book, but not an exact recreation. But it does contain many of the same themes. For example, the military response to any external threat. But for me, it's a classic. It's an excellent book. It's an essential read. It won't take long to read. Highly recommended.
Well, thank you very much for your review of this lovely children's book, TC. The Iron Man by Ted Hughes is available from all good book outlets. Thank you for joining me, and please remember to like and subscribe to Joy of Books.